All right. So we're continuing the live streams today. We're just kind of breaking them up into reviews and interviews. In case you missed it with local comic shop guy Michael Tierney, go to our channel after we're done here and check that out. We had some interesting things to say, but right now we are going to review the book of the century. That's an overstatement. The book that started it all. Is that an overstatement? I don't think so. This is Jawbreakers. This is Jawbreakers Lost Soul, the graphic novel. This is the banned book. This is the book Mark Waid does not want you to buy. So buy it. This is a, first of all, let me talk about the physicality of the book here. This is good stock. This is, I did not expect an indie book, self-published, to have this quite a good a stock. This is as good as any DC trade paperback you're going to find out there. So definitely no qualms at all about the production of this book. The pages are in there nice and tight. It's got a nice solid spine to it. You're not going to damage this book by reading it. The ink does not come off on your hands. So this is definitely high quality stock. Definitely what I would expect to spend about $25 for, at least $20 for. And I spent 25, and for the $5 extra, I ended up with this really cool Ethan Van Sciver cover and the signature of the writer inside. Always worth a look. I like the who did the coloring on this one? I'm looking to see who did the coloring. I should know this one because it was not Brett Smith. Kyle Ritter. Yeah. I don't know if Kyle was consciously going to make Knife Hands glow green here, because it's an Ethan Van Sciver cover and hey, Green Lantern kind of tribute, but it works. I like it. I love this giant gorilla here on the cover. The textures on the fur and in the leathery face and the fingernails and everything. So cover A+. Let's give the props to that. Now let's get inside here. And Brett Smith definitely makes this look like a fun 90s comic. We've all seen the opening shot. I mean, this has been plastered all over the place. So let's look at some of the other artwork in here. We get some, they get picked up in an ice cream van. I think that's kind of funny. It's kind of, that's an A-team kind of thing you would expect in the 80s and 90s. We've got some nice scenery here. I love the Zashi character. I mean, who doesn't? You know, you're in a country where apparently there are no such things as breezes, because there's nothing holding that thing down other than gravity. And well, okay, it's obviously that she has the power of defying gravity. Wah, wah. So we've all seen that shot as well. I don't know. I think some of the artwork in here is a little bit stiff, a little less dynamic. And let me give you a shot of what I mean by the less dynamic here. Well, first I want to start off with the introduction of the giant gorilla that they're going to be first fighting and then trying to save later on in the book when they realize they were misled about what they had to do. This gorilla here, this is not like the gorilla on the cover. First of all, this looks like a plastic gorilla. It looks kind of robotic. That chest and that face, it looks like plate metal. And the arms, which are brown, that's a very smooth gorilla, as far as I'm thinking. I think gorillas should be more furry and fuzzy. This one looks like it was a big King Kong toy bought from Walmart and stood up there. But, you know, I can live with it. It's not what I'd really like. And you've got Cuffs, not Christian Slater. But the guy on the team who he's going to go punch the gorilla in the face. And his line is, you know, hold up, I'm about to rock this fool with the power of 1,000 slaves. And he knocks the gorilla's eyeball right out, which is fine because we're seeing that, you know, he's got a really powerful hit. But that does not look like a powerful hit. That doesn't even look like it broke the socket. That looks more like he just, and his arm is kind of far away from wherever the point of impact was. His arm's down here, point of impact's up here, and it looks just like, look. It doesn't look like Kersmash or Kerplow, but tink and little tink, and there goes the eyeball flying out. That eyeball is important because it's funny. It kind of falls on a couple of the guys who don't see it coming, and then they end up rolling down the hill in his eyeball like it's a giant bouncy ball. It's kind of gross. There's magic in here being involved. The gorilla's been separated from his soul. There's a cyborg warlord who wants to get a hold of the gorilla because apparently the gorilla can be sold on the market if he's cut up and his organs are dispensed. And apparently the thing eats gold like they're Tic Tacs, because if you cut him open, he bleeds treasure like a piñata. So that was surprising, and that's not a dig. I mean, the writer himself says, "Hey, it's like a giant piñata," and there's an explanation as to why that's in there. There's good character interactions here. Some of them are a little forced. The good girl is actually the bad girl, but they love her anyway, and she dies one of us. Well, she redeems herself. The cyborg warlord, he's a little bit stupid because he's a little bit too full of his own power, because he thinks he's invulnerable and invincible. And I think Meyer, I like that part where he's like, I'm a great big cyborg. You've got a helicopter. Come on, bring it on. It was one of the things I used to joke about with X-Men was, they never went up against somebody who just had a gun, because a good gun is a powerful weapon, right? And they always went against people with laser beams or magnetized bombs or whatever. But send Cyclops and Jean Grey and the guys in against oh my God, he's got a gun. Beast is down. He's bleeding. You never see that. This guy, he's got a gun, and it's a big gun, and it's mounted to a helicopter. And guess what? It's pretty badass. We get more of sad gorilla, again looking very plastic. So sorry to dig on the gorilla, but yeah, he does not look like a giant gorilla. He looks like a giant gorilla toy, and he's interdimensional. That's important. You'll never see the gorilla again unless he comes back through another dimension. Now, that ends the first story, but that does not end the book. And that's kind of what's cool about this trade paperback. That's why I'm not calling it a graphic novel. It's a collection of other stories. But even the first story is very thick. This is what you'd at least, I think that's a good 48 pages. Then we get Jawbreakers Book 1 remastered. And the art style in this one is obviously going to be different. It's going to be earlier on. But you know what? For an earlier indie book, this is not bad stuff. This is very much like you would have found in the 90s. In fact, some of this is more dynamic and more detailed than what's in the first book. The coloring is more flat. But it's definitely an indie style to it. So you can see that there. And then that's not even all, because there is a second Jawbreakers Book 2 in here. And this one, the art style is different again. Now this one here, this is kind of, it's different, and it's definitely not as polished, but it's got its own cool retro factor to it, because this is kind of reminiscent of what you would find in a comic book that sold a toy in the 80s and the 90s. If you remember Mask, and you remember G.I. Joe's stuff, this is definitely a sell my toy comic, with the flat dimensions and the heavy line art and the heavy inking and the flat colors. So that's all very. So that's 3 decent stories you get in here, and then of course you got a little bit of the fan art in the back going on, because we did reach some levels. So you get the Sashi version of Sashi, who apparently Meyer chose to name after the artist. His prerogative. And then the dog says thank you at the end of it. So I promised to rip into it, and I think, for all the hype, it was worth the $25. It was not worth $75,000, Mark. Sorry. Should have left that one alone. It would have just come and gone. But now it's going to be a milestone forever. However, that damn gorilla is, I can't get past it. So in honor of all the videos that Richard Meyer has given us in the past where he's torn into books, I'm just going to have to say, here we go. Cover's too thick. Cover's too thick. You're thinking, oh my God, what's he doing? Well, you know, take it. Oh, crap. Sorry. That was actually my copy of Rex Royd, which nobody ever wanted to read, and Declutter would only give me 25 cents for. But it was about the same size, so thought it'd be funny. Maybe it wasn't. Anyway, thanks for coming by, guys.